Good evening, everyone. So today, I promised you all that we'll have all the top five ranks. Some years back, I said, and today we have all the five rank holders. Um, so Ishita and Garima was here yesterday, and so was Mayur and Smriti. And today we have Uma, who could not make it the other day. So today we have Uma Harathi with us. So Uma has been our student for quite some time. She graduated in 2017, and I think she's been our student for past 2 or 3 years. And this year she's been secured a super duper rank 3. She's been a very hardworking and diligent student with us. You can take a look at her copies, and they are really good. Also, she was with the mains guidance program with us, and she was also a student of the anthropology augmented test series. And she's one of those few people who has written all the tests. So I invite Uma, please come to share some of her wisdom with us. All right, Uma. So Uma, I'll hand over the podium to you, and I hope that our students can benefit from all the insights and all the wisdom that over the years you have accumulated that has helped you in clearing this exam with these top ranks. All right.
So my name is Uma Harathi. I am coming from state of Telangana. I was born in Nalgonda district in Telangana, but because of my father's profession, I was there in different districts through the time. My father is in the police department. He is superintendent of police through state services. And I have a brother who is in the engineering services, currently in CPWD Bombay. And my mother is a housewife. It was my father who motivated me towards the services at a very young age. And I was not sure for a very long time, but towards the end of the graduation, I decided civil services is what I want to pursue. So after graduating from the university, I started preparing for the exam. And it's been a long and challenging journey. This is my 5th attempt, which means I failed 4 times before. So this is pretty much a brief introduction about myself. When the results were about to come and I was in a complete panic mode, I did not know what to do. It was like the uncertainty was driving me crazy. So I did what I could do best, which is to solve prelims test papers. So I was in a very prelims mode trying to solve the papers. And when I saw the result, so I was going to search for my roll number in the search tab, but then I suddenly saw my name right there at rank 3. I did not believe it. I started asking people if it was fake PDF. But eventually I realized that it's not a fake PDF, and then I cried for about 3 or 4 minutes vigorously. And then I came to my senses, and then I've been relieved since. I came to know about Forum from a friend of mine who had by then already enrolled in the MGP program. And I was just looking at the answer sheets that she was writing. I liked the way questions were framed. I felt they were more analytical, like how they're asked in the actual UPSC exam. And I thought if I'm practicing, then I should be practicing questions which are closer to the actual UPSC standard. So I enrolled in the MGP program. I get motivation by doing something. So I plan a lot. So I have 6-month targets, monthly targets, weekly targets, and daily targets. And whenever I clear those targets, it gives me that kick of motivation that I need. So it's the other way around. Instead of looking for motivation that will make me do things, so I try to do things and get motivation. I read about this in a book called Motivation is a Myth or something like that. And secondly, the support system I had at home was incredible. My parents never questioned my abilities, and they never asked me, how long are you going to study, or why don't you pick up a job on the side, or when I'll get married. None of that questions ever cropped up at home. They just said, we have your back, so just keep at it, just be sincere and learn from your mistakes. So these two. My strategy and approach for prelims are very simple actually, and they got me through all the 5 general studies part. The one time that I failed in prelims, it was actually in CSAT, not the first paper. So first is to do all the basic books. we all know what the basic books are for each subject. I had made very short notes of all these books and I would revise them. And a second part is the tests, practicing tests. So I always did 2 test series. Each test series generally has about 35 tests, so that means about 70 tests in total. And I made sure that each of these tests is, or anything for that matter, I always made sure that anything I study has to be revised thrice before going to the actual exam. So each of those tests were revised thrice before the actual exam. So mostly the tests, I would say, changes the game for prelims. I generally started prelims preparation only 2 months before the actual prelims exam. So in the morning session, I would take a test. Every single day, it's a test. And in the afternoon session, I would revise my basics. And the rest of the time, I would revise the current affairs notes that I was making. Or I would revise the tests that I had appeared, 1 week before or something like that. So it's morning tests and afternoon session revision. Regularly read newspaper. Like, I enjoyed reading newspaper. I read the Hindu for much of my preparation. I read it the first thing in the morning, and I picked up if I felt that something was important for prelims. I picked it up. If something was important for mains, I picked it up. But I tried to make sure that I'm just taking up whatever is needed, not everything, and also in a very concise way. So I had separate notebook for prelims and mains related current affairs. Main change that I've made in this attempt compared to the previous attempts, that is trying to write answers to get marks. So I focused on all those little things which increase scores in the paper, and I told myself that I'm not going to read anything more or accumulate any more content. So I focused on things like preparing introductions and conclusions beforehand for all the topics. I tried to incorporate as many examples as possible, and something as simple as I